We're so good at this stuff.
There we go.
Yay!
Hi, everyone. Nerd Herd Live here. I think this is the first time we've gone live without a bunch of weird things happening. So it's our 4th live stream, and I think we might be getting the hang of it.
Finally.
I will throw it to Matt to start off introductions, and we'll just go around, let you know who we are, and then we'll dive into things. We're going to be talking about DragonCon 2022 today, so it's going to be our roundup edition.
Yeah. Well, I am Matt Rodriguez, the owner and chief editor of ShakeFire.com. And as you can see, I am today dressed in my Bruno cosplay that I wore this past weekend at DragonCon. So yeah, Robert.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. Well, we can talk about it now.
Okay. All right. Robert Prentice, owner and editor at 3F by Space. I am not dressed up in my cosplay because I got a haircut the day after. It was too hot at the conventions, but we'll get to that later. So I will pass it off to Miss Jen.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jen Steele. I'm a senior writer at fanbolt.com. I'm also not in my cosplay because I didn't do one this year.
Hey.
So there, because like Robert said, it was really hot. So Emma?
It was really hot this year, and I wore my
It's hot every
hottest
year.
costume to date. I'm Emma Loggins with fanbolt.com. I am also not in my cosplay because it involved wearing a 10-pound wig and a very large dress because I was Nadia from What We Do in the Shadows. So it was a lot of fun. We got a lot of good photos, but I think that's one thing we can all agree on with DragonCon this year is that it was by far the hottest year ever. It's never comfortable in any of the hotels, especially the Marriott, but this year was especially uncomfortable.
I don't know. I felt, because for me at least, I am always walking. Because, it takes place between 5 different hotels, all downtown. And parking downtown is a beast.
Yes.
And so I usually like to park a little bit further away, one where it's free and I don't have to pay. And I can just walk to the convention. And the days I did that, it didn't feel as hot. And I think that's because we did have some rain come in through and stuff throughout the weekend, and so that might have cooled things down a bit.
Well,
so
and I think
to me at least, yes, it was still blazing hot. It's always blazing hot.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think it's fair to say that outside was maybe not as bad as we've had in prior years when it's been 100% sunny and really beats down on you.
Yeah.
But inside the hotels, especially at night as you're people watching and going through the bridges, felt abnormally warmer than usual.
Yeah.
More so than the weather, And I wonder if the hotels, they've always had issue keeping up with the AC. When you get 65,000 people crowded into hotels, the AC is just not designed to handle that kind of crowd. But you wonder how much of it was the crowd versus maybe the hotels were trying to save a buck. To save some money. Because
we didn't check the Hilton, so
we didn't, but the Hilton had water to cool it off. But that's a separate story. But in past years like 2019 and before, we had more than 65,000 people at DragonCon, and it didn't feel as hot. So to me, I just wonder if they just weren't managing it as well as they had in previous years.
That's entirely possible.
Yeah.
I had friends who stayed on site, and their air conditioning was working fine. The air coming out of the vent was cold, and it could not cool down the room, which was really odd. To the point where the hotel brought in a box fan for them. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I want to take a quick moment to give a shout out to Sarah Henry, who is in our chat. I just opened the comments because it was flashing at me. Sarah also writes for Fanbolt, so it is cool that she has tuned in as well.
Hi,
What's
Sarah.
up, Sarah?
Emma said hi from 3 platforms at the same time.
She did.
Nice.
Still getting the hang of streaming, not getting the hang of StreamYard still, which will be a fun topic here in a minute when I share my PowerPoint with you all to share with you the images that I couldn't just upload. But I digress. I know we wanted to kind of talk a little bit about some of the panels you guys went to. I personally only went to one panel, so I don't really feel like I have a lot to contribute here. So I'll let you guys take it away for this one.
I feel like Jen is the majority of the person who does all the panels.
I'll admit I slacked a little this year, but the two that I went to that I really, really enjoyed. So I went to a panel on the urban fantasy track, just talking about some new books coming out. That was a lot of fun. A lot of the kind of more literary panels do that a lot at Dragon Con. Like, they've got authors on them going, okay, we've got this coming out, we've got that coming out. I generally like pull up either a Kindle wish list or just a document, like a Google Doc, and start writing down like, okay, what's going to go on the reading list after Dragon Con this year. So that's always a lot of fun. And then the panel that you all got sick of hearing me talk about because I loved it so much and I was so excited for it.
Is that your background?
What?
Is that your background?
No.
I don't know what the background.
Oh,
is that Star Trek?
It's not.
Oh,
Star
wow.
Wars,
Matt. Oh,
Dude.
man.
It's post Dragon Con. I am tired.
No, it's not a Star Wars background, Matt.
Ouch.
No, so the panel that I went to, the had my attention from the get-go. On the Star Wars track this year, they did include a kind of a tips and tricks and mostly spoiler-free review of the Galactic Star Cruiser at Walt Disney World, which, if you're not familiar, or to those who have not heard me talk about it a lot, it's essentially at its heart, people call it a Star Wars hotel, but it's more like a Star Wars LARP, frankly. And so the people on the panel talked all about it. One of the people on the panel was actually Delilah S. Dawson, who did the novelization of some of the Galaxy's Edge materials. So it was fascinating, and I want to go even more now. So,
and just in case some of our viewers don't know what LARPing is, I think there might be one or two. My dad might not if he's watching. It is live action role playing. So it's when you dress up and really become and embody and are that character for
they really make you part of the story, especially in the Star Wars universe, in this case in particular. So
it is a little bit pricey to go to this hotel.
Yes, it is.
But it sounds really worth it if you are a Star Wars fan. So
that was definitely the impression that I got from the panel. And Disney has done a very good job of making it repeatable. So there are several different, according to the people on the panel this year, there are several different story tracks that you can do. So if you go once, you can kind of stick with like the Resistance story track, or you can go with the First Order story track, or like the Smuggler story track. So you can go back and see many things. There's always something new.
I've been told that the First Order story track has cookies.
They are the dark side.
No, they are.
They tempt you over.
That's where the cookies treats. Always are.
That's true.
Nat, I know you went to a number of panels too. Did you see anything especially cool?
So one of the coolest panels that I did, and it caught us off guard because it was called Comedic Timing in Puppetry. And we really didn't know anything about this panel. So we're like, okay, this sounds cool. Like we'll learn about, puppetry and movements and stuff like that. Maybe they'll have some puppets and demonstrate for us and stuff. And we walk into the room and all the chairs have been cleared. So immediately we're like, okay, what's going on here? And the person leading the panel is like, we're going to get into a circle. And it's at that point that we realized that we were not in a panel, but it was more of a workshop. And so, and they knew this too, because they asked, once everybody got there, they asked like, how many people were expecting a panel? Or like, how many people were expecting a workshop? And nobody raised their hands. And they were like, how many people expected like a normal panel? And everybody put their hands up. But they had brought puppets. They brought puppets for everybody. So we all had our own individual puppets, and we just walked through these scenarios of different basically like different things. So like we had this little rubber ducky that they put on a platform, and we essentially had a, you know, they were like, oh, do like a double take of your puppet noticing the ducky, or do something emotional with it. And we would just basically just go around through everybody, and we'd just act out different things with the puppets and stuff. And it was a whole lot of fun. And I was not expecting it at all to be like that. But
that's amazing.
Definitely, yeah.
And to Jim Daly's point, you probably did have some like local folks running that are probably pretty accomplished in puppetry. Did you know any of the names, or do you remember any of the names of the panel?
I'd have to look it up, but yeah, they were definitely local. Like I think they worked with Center for Puppetry Arts, so
that is right.
And yeah, they knew what they were doing and stuff, and like, you know, it was just a lot of fun, and like everybody was really good at just, you know, acting goofy and doing all these really creative scenarios and stuff, and, you know, being fun, which is what a Dragon Con's all about. So
that is really
nice
cool.
to have a fun surprise like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like
definitely.
I've never had a bad panel when I've dropped in on the puppetry track.
Yeah,
it's like consistently good
somehow.
It's kind of become a tradition for us, because we did it in 2018 and 2019. Usually we hit at least one puppetry track panel every year. And it was ironic because when we were standing in the line for not the one that Matt did, but the one that we all sat in, that was more of an actual panel. Everybody kept asking us what the line was for. They were trying to find the Star Wars line.
Because it's right across the hall.
Because it was right next door, and not necessarily the puppet one. So that was kind of, I mean, they had maybe 30% of the room filled in that panel that we went to. But it's always interesting to hear some of the backstories of those that are in puppetry, because they've gone and done a lot of stuff in theater and acting and other things before they got into that. So it's pretty cool to just see how much of that type of stuff really does take place locally.
Yeah. Well, and even bringing people, the puppetry track does tend to bring people in from New York and such. One of the panelists that we saw was, I think they said, the longest running Princeton from Avenue Q on Broadway. So that was just amazing to me. And I know before we were there seeing the puppeteers for like Audrey 2 and all sorts of things, again from the Broadway shows. So yay.
That was just cool. It was rad. Well, transitioning a little bit, I know some of us made it into the Avengers Hall. I don't think Matt didn't make it into the Avengers Hall.
No.
Let's talk about the journey to get into the Avengers Hall first.
I can talk about that.
Let's do that.
I saw the whole journey of that.
Journey is the right word.
Yeah, we decided, Robert, myself, and Doug decided to go on Sunday. We thought it would be a little less hectic. And we were wrong. Incorrect. I think we probably got there at the best time we could have gotten there, because we only waited in line about an hour. And by the time we had
only an hour,
and it's kind of crazy, because like you're going into America's Mart Building 2, and it's on like one side, and then like the line actually went around the back of the building, and then through a parking garage, like weaving back and forth, and then out, and then up the block the other. Like the line was insane, and it got so much worse the longer we were in line. And then right after we got inside, like the skies let loose, and it was pouring. And all I could think about is all of the people that were out there in these amazing cosplays and these like crazy wigs, and like it just like gives me anxiety to think about.
Well, and
their costumes.
And even before the rain came, it was super humid out. So here we are standing in the line in the parking garage, which is all concrete with no air movement. So it was thick and stale and humid. And then the rain happens, and so everyone that's waiting outside in there now has all of that extra humidity added in there. It was it was miserable. So we told ourselves once we got in, we're going top to bottom every floor because when we leave, we're done. We're not getting back in that line.
And we spent probably a good 3.5 hours weaving around the different floors. And there was so much. I mean, there's always a ton of good stuff. And it's like, yeah, you can go on, Etsy and the different kind of, more kind of commercial nerd stuff sites. But there's nothing quite like going to like the vendor hall at Dragon Con, like seeing all that stuff in person, all the comic book artists that they have there, all of the the sheer amount of talent that goes into making some of these figurines, these art prints, these clothing pieces, these sculpture, like anything you want from any fandom, you can get there. Ethel!
I feel like I missed you by like this much.
I know we missed you, Ethel. Two of us missed you.
Speaking of dealer hall, when we got in, we met our number one fan of Nerd Herd Live and FanVolt at the entrance of the dealer hall, Ethel. So it was great to finally meet you guys in person. And Jen was literally outside, could see us inside, but unfortunately that was like an hour and a half to 2 hours back in the line.
Yeah.
So it was a long wait.
In line with you guys. It couldn't have been by more than like 30 seconds to a minute. I think I was like right across the street when you finally went inside. So I just,
when that line moves, you have to move with it.
Yeah.
No choice.
So
no, we had a great time. What did we end up buying? I got this shirt. Hold on, it says you, David.
Nice.
So and then I got another shirt that says Jackie Daytona, regular human bartender from What We Do in the Shadows.
I'm gonna grab mine.
The shirt I really wanted to get, my husband got, and it just says Bat on it. Also from What We Do in the Shadows, because Laszlo just screams bat every time he turns into a bat because he thinks that's what you have to do to turn into a bat. I really wanted that shirt, so I'm going to end up stealing it from him. But
you could have bought two.
I could have bought two.
Yeah.
Regrets.
So I ended up with a couple of art prints. I don't know how well this will show on the live stream, but I'm going to attempt to show it on the screen.
Fancy display container book thing you got.
It is a bamboo portfolio for 11 by 17 size prints. I have got quite a few in there, but this is the one that I picked up from an artist on the comic artist floor. It was only available at Dragon Con. He's got a lot of stuff online, but it's for Neon Genesis Evangelion.
But that's one of the cool things is, the bottom floors tend to be like the shops that sell like tons of artwork and figures and things and earrings. But the artist floor at the very top can have some really awesome prints you would otherwise not expect up there. And a lot of times they're exclusive to the event because I originally went on the site and I was going to say, okay, if the print's available there, I'll order it because I don't want to carry it around and get it damaged. But then realized, oh, wait, nope, this is only available at Dragon Con. So it's like, okay, I've got to get this while I'm here. And that's what I ended up walking out with. I controlled myself and I kept it to a minimum, but that's what I walked out with.
Yeah, you got to kind of set limits for yourself going into there.
Yeah, I actually, so if you go onto Facebook, there is a group specifically for the Dragon Con vendors. It's almost a marketplace. So I had actually gone into that group before Dragon Con and like set my limits as
scope things out.
I scoped things out. Yeah, like I went and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm going to buy. And I'm going to be good this year, which I was, except for the stuff that I bought from all of these vendors' websites after Dragon Con.
It doesn't count. It wasn't at Dragon Con.
But it doesn't count because I wasn't in the vendor hall.
Exactly.
There you go.
But what I got while I was there, I went to the Elven Caravan and got this Elven ear cuff thing.
It's so pretty.
Nice.
That I adore. It makes me so happy. And then I stopped by the Surreal makeup booth and got this really pretty like duochrome eye pigment, which is all the way upstairs. So I'm not going to run and get it because I love you guys, but not that much. Also picked up a sample of a perfume from Black Phoenix Alchemy Labs. They always have amazing scents, and I forgot to go back and get that nail polish. Oh well. Yeah, most of my shopping was like fashion related this year.
But you know, the thing about Dragon Con is whether it's fashion items, collectible figures and pins, artwork, your favorite books or comics signed by an artist. I mean, literally, they have all of those things spread across floors at the Amerismart building, which explains why there's always such a long line to get in there.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much. It is. And it's an experience to actually just go through it and see some of the things that they're doing, because even if you don't buy anything there, you end up walking out with a lot of QR codes, business cards, company names, and you now find your new source for a variety of things, as Jen pointed out, after Dragon Con. So fun times for sure.
It's like I bought some unicorn glitter on a website after con, and I'm now on a waiting list for a custom convertible dress, again from a vendor that I found at Dragon Con. So
nice.
Jenna lucked out this time around. You did good.
I did. It's like the Dragon Con version of cash and carry. I love it. Which is America's Smart. It's still good.
There you go.
Well, we are going to dive into our last topic. Well, it's not last topic. No, I digress. There's one more thing we're going to talk about before we get into our last topic. Jen and I, and Matt separately from Jen and I, had a really cool interview that we got to do in support of Lord of the Rings, Ring of Power, that they were at Dragon Con in a, I guess, technical capacity. They had a dialect coach there and a storyboard artist there that we got to sit down with and talk about and nerd out with. And I'm going to let Jen tell you about the dialect coach, because Jen works with languages normally. So like, it was extra cool seeing like language nerd meet language nerd. Oh my God. I was nerding out over it.
It was the bonding of the language nerds. It was very cool. She was just an awesome person. Her name is Leith, and I don't remember her last name. But no, she's an amazing dialect coach, and she talked with us at least about, building a dialect around a conlang, out details from the books, especially from Lord of the Rings, to be able to build that kind of accent to teach the actors. And yeah, just super nerding out over language stuff because, in my day job, I work with languages. And at the time I actually had a shirt in Orabesh, which Star Wars language. So we got to nerd out. I was like, oh no, it's a one-to-one letter translation and such. I'm like, oh, that's what I was going to ask. Like, I know.
Well, her name was Leith McPherson. And she has worked on a number of projects. She also worked on the Hobbit films. And that interview is coming tomorrow on Fanbolt. So be sure to look out for it. We talked about not only how she became fan of Lord of the Rings, but also how you come up with accents for a language that's been made up and doesn't actually exist somewhere in the world. Like, where do you pull the inspiration from those accents? So we got kind of nerdy about it. At the same time, we interviewed John Howe and the storyboard artist, but I've separated them into 2 interviews. So that one will be coming next week. And he was great as well. I know Matt really enjoyed. I think he was like your favorite part of that interview, right?
Definitely, yeah. Like the way he would describe the methods in which he would come together to figure out, okay, how do I take Tolkien's words and turn them into pictures of my own and stuff was amazing. And just the amount of research both him and Leg did for coming up with languages, or just, turning these fictional worlds into reality. And what they would do, like he lives in Switzerland, and we were talking about how he like did the exact same trail that Tolkien did. And he would be like, oh yeah, you can see over there, like those are the Misty Mountains that inspired Tolkien, and like all the different places and stuff that he took inspiration from. And he was like, that to me was even more important than reading Tolkien's work, where it's like, yes, the Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion, those are all good sources, but he's like, I want what were Tolkien's sources. Like, where did he look for inspiration and stuff? I want to go and see these places and do these things that he did. And it was just really cool. So I will have that interview up on shakefire.net, hopefully tomorrow. Still a little bit of work to be done on it, but it will be up. But if you follow me or Shakefire on socials, I will definitely let you know when it is live.
Yeah, they were so cool, and they played off of each other really well too.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of worried going into it, because it's like two very different skill sets, like doing a joint interview with. And
you don't want to ignore like only focus questions on one of them, and
exactly
you want to give them equal time.
Exactly.
But they definitely had a mutual love for each other.
Admiration. Yeah.
They were fantastic to talk to, and it really does, like, doing these kind of more technical style interviews, for me at least, gives me a much like grander appreciation for, you know, watching the show, or if it's, you know, a movie. I look at it differently, and it's I don't know.
Well, like, so for me, he was talking about, he did all the maps for the series. So like, if you've seen the series yet, episode 3 drops in a few hours, FYI. You know, like they zoom in and zoom out on the various landscape maps of Middle Earth. And so he went in and designed all those things. And so he took Tolkien's words and like basically, you know, deciphered. It was like a puzzle where he's like, okay, there's a river here, there's mountains here and stuff. And he said, like, I don't know the exact words, but he was like, there's things in there that like I kind of put in there that like nobody's noticed, he said, where it's like little hints and clues of things that aren't necessarily, almost like little secrets that he kind of decided to drop into the map. So like, I'm now really going to be like focused on these maps that they show throughout the series. I'm like freeze frame, be like, try to look at every little detail and stuff.
I recommend paying close attention in tonight's episode.
Ooh. Because Robert has already seen it.
I have, and I will not spoil anything for anybody. But I will say that as with most shows, I like to give 3 episodes before I give an opinion on a show. And I feel like the 3rd episode finalizes our tour of the world and the races, and setting up where things currently stand, and dives right into all of the action. So, and the maps that you talk about are frequently referenced and brought up in this upcoming episode. Awesome. And one comment, because I didn't get to do those interviews, but I love doing the technical interviews, and especially in the world of voice acting, the technical interviews are some of the most interesting, because, you know, not that voice actors are boring, not saying that, but sometimes, you know, asking voice actors over and over and over again, well, how do you prepare to do your voice, and what's your training method, and this and that, you sort of get similar answers. When you start talking to the technical staff of how do you take something spoken in a different language and localize it while still keeping the intent or the framing of a scene, and then translate it to a completely different language, you know, into English in this case. And it's always controversial for people, because there's not always a direct one-for-one translation on certain things. Mm-hmm. And I know, Jen, you of all people know this very well. So I'm always excited to understand. So like, what do they do to actually figure that out and do that? And I think that those type of interviews are some of the most interesting to do, whether it's in anime or it's in TV or film. And I think especially for Lord of the Rings, those to me would probably be some of the most interesting interviews to see out there.
Yeah.
Well, there'll be 2 of them up tomorrow, one on Famble and one on Shakefire. So Leaf McPherson is actually a voice actress as well as a dialect coach. So, but yeah, so that kind of sums up our professional, I guess, capacity at Dragon Con. So now we're going to dive in to what I think we've all been waiting for.
Favorite cosplay.
It was Bruno, right?
You are in my PowerPoint.
So let's
if we don't talk about it.
Let's be selfish for a minute and say that, we all thought our personal cosplays, for those that did, were the best. But for our audience that's watching live, feel free to comment as you see them and tell us what you think. Because Matt had a great one. Emma and I had one. So in case you can't tell what Emma and I are doing in this photo, I'm Guillermo and Doug. Although Doug's kind of hard to see there because Ming Chen is in the way. But the three of us there are doing what we do in the shadows. So you got Nadja up front with the doll, played by Emma. I did Guillermo, and Doug did Laszlo.
Well, he called it Laz Nandor because it's like a blend of characters.
Laszlo.
Yeah, Laszlo. One of my Twitter followers later asked why didn't he go as Jackie Daytona, and I was like, oh my god, that's what we should have done.
Fair point.
Jackie Daytona.
Oh my god,
that's awesome.
It's a fair point.
We needed a call-in.
We really did.
We actually, that's like the only thing not the only thing we were missing.
Well,
what? We could have added a few more characters in, but I would have loved a call-in.
What we do in the shadows will be back next year. We all still own the outfits and things that we used. So, Jim,
there you go.
Prepare yourself for next year. You're going to be our Colin.
I need to get like conditioner to take care of myself before next year.
They do have like shirts that are like water cooled.
Yeah, they have cooling vests that you can wear under some of these costumes.
Get yourself a black.
That would look good under my dress.
Get yourself a black gothic fan, like that like you borrowed from Jen, just a hand fan to help you. I think that would help.
Mm-hmm. It probably would help. Oh, here we go.
Twins.
Not the only Nadja.
My twin. It was so fun because like there were a handful of people that were doing what we do in the shadows and just like walking around, and when you find someone that's in the same like costume as you and you just like lock eyes and then you just like get excited and it's like your old friends even though you're just like complete strangers.
That describes Dragon Con.
This was that moment.
In a nutshell.
Or they just completely ignore you. That happened to me once with another Bruno. They were like, "Oh my god, how dare another person cosplay?"
You knew you did it better.
I just think they didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
that could have also been
staying into character.
All right, what do we got next here? Oh, more of this. I'd selfishly put a lot of our cosplay in there. There we go. There's Matt.
Okay. Hey. We don't talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about
Bruno.
So this is one of my favorite things every single Dragon Con. When you come into the Marriott, if you come in from the Sky Bridge, and it's literally as soon as you come off the Sky Bridge, like right to your right. And every year they have them there. I didn't get Wally in this. Wally's a little bit to the side, but it's basically all of the robots, specifically all of the droids, there together, and they're just so cute.
It's kind of a droid depot because this is a little offshoot right to the side of the Hyatt and the Marriott Sky Bridges where a lot of traffic goes in and out, and also where the puppetry track tends to be, FYI.
And the Star Wars track.
And so this little like circular cubby hole, every year, all of the remote droid control teams kind of congregate, and you get all of these really awesome droids, and it seems to grow every year with new droids, and it's always a blast to see. And the tall one there in the center had about 6 or 7 phrases it kept repeating through that were lines from the show, which was fun.
There was also a BB-8, which I think you can see a very tiny piece of in the lower corner. God, I can't believe
I don't know why I'm leaning forward like that's going to help.
I know it's going to help you look into it a little bit better.
I've got a picture of that BB-8 in my collection.
Okay, good.
Because I had a lot of fun. I actually had a lot of fun talking to him.
I really want one. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if it's like insanely expensive to commission one of these, but I would.
My
be
guess it would be
interested.
yes.
Probably yes. But the BB-8 is so cute.
I would not say no to a chopper. Because I mean, look at that guy.
Yeah, I know. He's really cute.
They're all great. Steve.
All right. We got Steve, and then we've got the Mar-a-Lago raid.
Oh my God.
Which I just thought was one of the more creative, timely costumes.
Yeah.
You get some, kind of fun political humor at these as well. Steve, this was actually the best Steve that I saw. Jen and I were together when we saw this gentleman, and he wanted to tell us that his hair was real. So that was all natural. But it worked well for the costume. He was Steve.
Did very well.
Next up here, we have the Bad Robot. I
didn't see Bad Robot.
You didn't see Bad Robot?
I've seen this Bad Robot.
Yeah, he's if you're not familiar with Bad Robot, it is J.J. Abrams' production company. So you saw it at the end of every single episode of Lost, plus countless other shows. Alias. So it's just fun when you see that pop up. Then I have a Delta variant. Which variant
I love
Loki.
Dragon Con.
Delta variant. Again, very timely costume.
Oh man.
I just loved Dragon Con for stuff like this because it just you just take what's relevant and you just mash it together and boom.
Yeah.
And there you go. And it works.
That is one of the best things about Dragon Con is the costume mashups. So here we've got Moon Knight and Nope. Nope, I actually thought was one of the more creative ones that I saw because it's brand new, just came out in July. We talked about it a few podcasts ago. But I just thought that was really cool and kind of one of the more obscure costumes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I saw a different Khonshu who was like up on stilts. So he was
I saw that one
as Khonshu, and I didn't get a picture, but they were amazing.
They were
there were a bunch, yeah.
There were a bunch, but the one on stilts was incredible. I didn't get a photo of that one either. What's we got? Lucifer from the Sandman. So this was really cool. Her wings just extended out, which was pretty rad. Then we had Up.
Oh,
yeah, I know. I thought that was really sweet.
And sad.
And sad. Then we had, this was just me doing this to show that all ages partake in Dragon Con. Doesn't matter how old or how young. We saw babies in costumes. We saw, every single age group in costumes. So
what show is this? I don't remember this one.
I think this is a mashup of a few different things.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of looks like it could be a mix of Gilligan's Island meets. It looks like there's Star Trek there.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yep. This was one of my favorites. All of the insurance sells.
The insurance TV.
That's hilarious.
Right? This was one of my favorites that I saw. This was a good mashup. And the progressive chick is just fantastic.
Yeah.
And they had all of their sayings down, which was
God.
They were in character for this.
I like the general.
I was going to say the general is
the general is
good. Spot on.
Then we had the Johnny Depps.
Yeah.
Rango.
I really, really wanted to see someone dressed up in an Amber Heard court attire next to them.
Oh God!
I thought that would have been super
timely.
Current and timely. But alas, I did not see any Amber Heards.
Nope.
And then
the aliens.
One of my other personal favorites, the aliens. This guy, and his name's like Giorgio something.
Suklos?
Yeah, he's got like is he Greek?
I think so.
But this guy like had the look down, the hair down. It was great. This is one of my favorites. And I think that's it for me. That was my cosplay highlights and my PowerPoint presentation.
I just have one. And this was Matt, like my favorite cosplay of the whole convention.
Nice.
It was Oscar Isaac.
Impressive.
Right? Like, and I was walking past him and I saw him and I yelled at him, Oscar! And he was like, you're the first person to recognize what I was doing. Because I don't think a lot. It was such just like an obscure thing.
It's subtle.
Yeah.
But well done.
Yeah. So I had to throw up the original photo that like went viral and everything. And I feel like it's been brought back with She-Hulk because they're eating Cheetos with chopsticks.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So it's making a comeback. But yeah, like the way people get creative and just dive into like really obscure memes and stuff like that for a cosplay at Dragon Con, that's what Dragon Con is all about.
Yeah.
I think one of the most obscure ones that I saw that I adored, I didn't get a picture of her because we were on the Sky Bridge. Pro tip, guys, no photos on the Sky Bridge for all of our viewers. So there's a web series. Her name is Lauren Powell, I think. And she just does random, like, slice of life stuff. And one of them is like what I want to drink the next day. And Rosé is a character in that series. And it's just like a woman. It's her in a pink morph suit. And on one of the sky bridges was just like a blonde girl in a pink morph suit. I'm like, I know who that is.
Yeah. And like you bring so much joy to somebody when you recognize their cosplay, when it's like that obscure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, oh my God, I know what that is.
I was tickled to find that. I wish I could have gotten a shot, but we were on a sky bridge, so
yeah.
Wasn't gonna happen.
Jen was being responsible.
I used to volunteer. It's a thing.
All right, Robert, take it away.
All right, so some of my favorite picks from the evening. So we had the Rancor there from Book of Boba Fett with the Handler, which was a really well done costume. I can only imagine how warm that Rancor outfit was.
I'm sure. Speaking of cooling vests.
So mashups that you have to explain sometimes, but other times you're just a fan of both and you're like, holy crap. So here we have a Dalek on the right from Doctor Who, and on the left you have My Hero Academia Bakugo as a puppy. Both of them going in a circle to fight each other. Interesting mashup. I think they just sort of met each other walking by, but it was funny. And they were both orange. So
I thought that was Rocket from this photo, from what I can see. I was like, yeah, that's Rocket.
Yeah, nope. The giveaway is the grenade style cups on the hands. Of course, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
They were cool.
She was really good. Like she did really like with the hair and everything, did really well. His outfit was great too. Their poses were well done. This guy, so the only mummy that counts, playing Brendan Fraser with the mummy on his back, sword, pants, boots, and all. And he was handing out little tokens, casino tokens, with like the mummy logo on them, the scarab on one side, for his cosplay. And Doug and I got one, awesome. Which is really great to see because I love Brendan Fraser's mummy and he deserves all the praise that he gets with that. This was a really good Zelda and Link cosplay, and it looks like she also was doing the Zelda bunny hutch as well, given the ears. But just really well done. What's nice, because I kind of asked him about it, is they sort of hand sewed and pieced a lot of these pieces together, with the exception of the shield. So it wasn't like it was a pre-bought costume, which just again shows a level of dedication that
that these cosplayers tend to go through to set these up. For some really old school sci-fi, some original Battlestar Galactica, damn toasters. But there they were, and the red eyes on the toasters were moving back and forth, so that was pretty cool. If you're a Mario fan and plants.
No, I appreciate the Monastera leaves.
Yep, you had the tube in the back and Mario in his various forms. So the raccoon, the frog, standard, and the one when you have the fire capability. Of course, I had Lucifer on mine as well from the Sandman, which Emma showed earlier. Bad Robot. This one was a really great cosplay from Hunter x Hunter, which is an anime. So you had Kite, P2, and Killua, which was really great. His scythe was awesomely done and bigger than him, which is exactly how it should have been done. This one was just the dapper Darth Vader with a cocktail and a plaid tie, which again, just it's a mashup, but it's a dapper Darth, and it was like, okay, it was pretty awesome. This was a really good Sandman with his actual headpiece on. There were quite a few people that did like the goth like character Morpheus without the helmet and the raven on their shoulder, but I really appreciated this one because he had the full blown helm on for the character. Of course, Delta variant we covered, Conchu with Moon Knight, and that's what I had to share.
Nice.
Very cool.
I'm bringing on a special guest. Hold on.
Oh, special guest time.
Fuzzy!
Oh,
Don't hurt yourself.
She's so heavy.
Aw, it's a puppy.
Hey,
Welcome,
Fuzzy.
Fozzie.
It's her first appearance, I think, on the stream.
No.
Here we go. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, Fuzzy Bear.
Hi.
I know.
She was causing a little bit of havoc during Robert's presentation. That's why I kept looking back.
Aw,
Not that cute face.
She
Fuzzy
knocked
Bear.
all of the pillows off of my couch.
Yeah,
Of course.
it's like pay attention to me.
She wants attention. Yep.
She does. Well, I think that pretty much wraps us up for tonight. I know we're all still actively recovering from DragonCon.
Yeah.
It was a long 4 days, 5 days, however many days it was.
I think it changes every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It pretty much
It
does.
certainly feels that way.
feels like a month.
It does. It feels like a month. But we will be back. Oh, she's gonna want to get down. Hold on.
Bye,
Good job,
Fuzzy.
Well, we're going to be back on 2 weeks from tonight on the 22nd. I have no idea what we're talking about yet. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We're starting to get into some movies. I know I have 3 movies I'm going to next week. And then we're starting to kind of get into the craziness of
Award season
and all of the kind of big movies. TIFF, of course, is coming up. None of us are going to it, but there will be a lot of news and stuff that comes out of it.
I know what I'm going to want to talk about on in 2 weeks.
Oh, I know. And we will. Andor.
Andor. Oh, yeah.
Andor.
We will absolutely talk about Andor. I keep forgetting it's release date.
Jen and I are on the same page.
That's the 21st, right?
21st.
21st, yeah. We'll talk about that.
Yep.
So it'll probably be just a mashup of all kinds of fun stuff next time.
Just be us talking, frankly.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do.
Just talking. What's new? What's geeky? What's relevant? You know.
Exactly.
What we're enjoying.
So,
We'll drink and we'll know things.
There we go.
We'll know things. I like it. It's appropriate. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I will throw it to Matt to close out for everybody as we kind of go around our little square.
Yeah, thank you. You can follow me on social. I'm Matt Rodriguez on Twitter and Matthew M. Rodriguez on Instagram. You can also follow us at Nerd Herd Live on Instagram and the Nerd Herd Live on Twitter. So if you want to get the latest news and updates, especially what we're going to be talking about next time, we will be posting that to all our socials. Robert?
Thanks. You can catch me personally at Robert W. Prentice on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow 3F by Space on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at 3F by Space. We'll be posting our Dragon Con and reviews on Rings of Power, and of course, content on anime for anyone that's interested. Jen?
All right. You guys can follow me personally at Renlark, RENNLARK, on both Instagram and Twitter. And I pop up on Fanbolt occasionally as well. Emma?
Thank you. You can follow me on Emma Loggins on all platforms except for TikTok. As I always say.
Hashtag not there.
Not there. Or Fanbolts, again, all platforms except TikTok. We do have some cool things coming up. I have some extra passes to give away that I just got this afternoon for a special early screening of Bros next week. So if you are free Monday night and would like to join us, I believe all of us will be there. So you get to meet us. That's pretty cool. Definitely hit me up, send me a DM or post on Fanbolt. Just let me know and I will get you a pass. I think I have like five more to give out. And then I'm also going to be giving away a couple of early passes actually, I don't know if it's early. It's a special IMAX screening of Don't Worry, Darling with a special Q&A afterwards. If you're not following all the drama with Don't Worry, Darling, it is a reality show in and of itself.
I think the drama is more fun than the movie's going to be.
Yeah, there's been several people that have said they'd rather see a documentary about the making of the film instead of the film, and absolutely. I think that I fall into that bucket.
Same.
I've seen the film. I saw the film this week, and I won't go into the details yet. We'll save that for another live stream.
Sounds good. We'll add that to our next live, because Matt and I may be interviewing Olivia Wilde before then.
At some point.
So we shall see. I'm sure we'll have a lot of things we cannot ask her, but
almost certainly.
It'd be very cool if that happened. Regardless, though, she's pretty rad. As I said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and until then, please reach out to us on social media. Woohoo. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Love you.